Good afternoon, one and all. I am R.V. Kiran, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering. Today, in this video lecture, I am going to explain you about two topics. So that is based on the problem, so problematic topics. So firstly, you have to see the theoretical part, then we have to go to the problems. So first one is the power transmitted by a belt, and second one is the centrifugal tension in the belts. So these are the two topics. Today I am going to explain you in this class. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the open belt drive and the closed belt drive. And this is my 54th lecture regarding to the subject kinematics of machinery. So today our topic is power transmitted by a belt. So in the flat belt drives, we are going to see the how much amount of power it is transmitting to the driven pulley. So from the driver pulley, what much amount of power is to be transmitted to the driven pulley has to be taken in consideration. So for this consideration, you have to check whether it is transmitted on full efficiency or not. So let's see this. So the driving pulley pulls the belt from one side and it delivers it to the other side. So you already know that the driving pulley is the main pulley which is used to transmit the power to the driven pulley. Then it is thus obvious that the tension on the former side, that means former side means the tight side of the belt. So it will be greater than the lateral side of the belt. So lateral side means the slack side. So lateral side means the slack side and former side means the tight side of the belt. So then you have see the figure there. Here A is the driving pulley and B is the driven pulley. And it has two sides. So as common we have seen in the all the pulleys. So it consists of two pulleys, that is slack side and tight side of the pulley. Then it has two types of tensions, that is T1 and T2. So T1 on the tight side of the pulley and T2 on the slack side of the pulley. So let us consider that T1 T2 be the tensions in the tight side and slack side of the belt respectively in newtons. So we have to take it in newtons only. Then R1, R2 be the radius of the driving and driven pulleys. So R1 be the radius of the driver pulley and R2 be the radius of the driven pulley. So these are the two driving and driven pulleys. And small v is the velocity of the belt which is taken in the meters per second. So that is the velocity of the belt in meters per second. Then the effective turning force. So the effective turning force means the driving force is considered here as the effective turning force. Then it is the force at the circumference of the driven pulley. So the effective turning force is the at the circumference of the driving pulley or the follower pulley is the difference between the two tensions. So when you have to differentiate the two tensions, that is T1 minus T2, so it is the effective turning force at the circumference of the driving pulley or driven pulley or the follower is the difference between the two tensions, that is T1 minus T2. Then we have to take the work done for the two pulleys, that is work done per second. So it is taken as the T1 minus T2 into V, that is the velocity in Newton meters per second. Then power transmitted is taken as, so power transmitted is taken as T1 minus T2 into V. It is taken as watts. So power is calculated as watts. That is, we can calculate it in Newton meters per second also. So it is taken as 1 Newton meters per second is equal to 1 watt. So here I have taken that 1 Newton meters per second is equal to 1 watt. So that is the only difference between the work done and the power transmitted. So in the work done per second, I have taken in Newton meters per second, but in the power transmitted it is watts. So that is the only difference. So next we are going to see the torque exerted. So electrical consideration will show that the torque exerted on the driving pulley is T1 minus T2 into R1. So it is taken as the T1 minus T2 into R1. So R1 is the radius of the driving pulley. Similarly, in the same conditions, we have to take the torque exerted on the driving pulley, that is T1 minus T2 into R2. Then we have to take the ratio of the driving tensions for flat built drive. So ratio of the driving tensions for a flat built drive. So we have to consider a driven pulley rotating in the clockwise direction. So as shown in the previous figure. So this is the ratio of the driving tensions for the flat built drive. So let T1 and T2 be the tensions in the belt on the tight side and tensions in the belt on the slack side. So that is in tight side as well as slack side. Theta be the angle of contact in radians. So that is to be angle of contact. Now consider a small portion of the belt PQ subtending angle delta theta at the center of the pulley. So we have to take the portion. So delta theta. So this is the portion we have to take in this driven pulley. Then the belt PQ is in the equilibrium portion under the following forces. So it is taken under the following forces. Then tension T is taken in the belt at P. Tension T is in the belt at P. And tension we have to take the at Q also. So this is the P position and this is the Q position, which is the centrifugal tension part. So it is taken as P plus delta T. So delta is the angular tension. Then third one is the normal reaction Rn. So normal reaction is taken as Rn, and we have to calculate the frictional force here. So then we have to calculate the frictional force. Next, we have to see the frictional force, that is frictional force F is equal to mu into Rn. So frictional force F is equal to mu into Rn. Then where mu is the coefficient of friction here. So this is the driving pulley with a surface tensions of T1 and T2. So we have to take the only the delta theta part. So this is the only part we have to take. So the part have been enlarged here. So for this, the normal reaction is going through this section, and this is the frictional force which is perpendicular to the normal reaction. Then the angles taken is delta theta by 2 and so then we have to take the points as the endpoint, that is P and Q, and angles as delta theta by 2 and tension as that is T plus delta T. So then we are going to resolve the all the forces horizontally first. So that is normal reaction Rn is equal to T plus delta T into sin delta theta by 2. So this is the value for the angle section, that is T plus delta T is the tension and T into sin theta by 2 is the normal tension for the two forces. Then so we have to take the delta theta is very small angle. Therefore, putting the sin delta theta by 2 is equal to delta theta by 2. So we have to take the sine angle. Then we have the reaction as Rn is equal to T plus delta T into delta theta by 2 plus T into delta theta by 2. So by neglecting the delta theta into delta theta by 2, we got the total force as T into delta theta. So finally we have obtained it as T into delta theta. Then now resolving the forces vertically. So this is the resolving forces horizontally, and we are going to take the forces vertically. Then we have the vertical position means we have the mu into R, that is the, so this is the vertical force and this is the horizontal force. So horizontal force we are taking the Rn. In the vertical force we are going to take the frictional force, that is F is equal to mu into Rn. So mu into Rn is equal to T into delta T cos delta theta by 2 minus T cos delta theta. So same type of equation, but we are adding the negative signature for the cos angle here. That is the only difference from the horizontal forces. So when we are taking the angle delta theta is very small. Therefore, putting this cos delta theta by 2 is equal to 1 in equation. So we have the equation as, so we have the equation as mu into Rn is equal to t plus delta t minus t. So total we got Rn is equal to delta t by mu. So here we got t into delta theta. So these are the two reactions they have got. Next, equating the values of the normal reactions from the equations 2 and 4. So from the equations 2 and 4. So this is the second equation. This is the fourth equation for the Rn values. So we are going to take the Rn values here. Then we get the T into delta theta is equal to delta T by mu. So this is the obtained value from the two equations. Then by taking delta T by T is equal to mu into delta T. So we have taken on both sides. Then we have go to the integrative form. So then by integration we got T1 by T2 is equal to small e into small e power mu into theta. So this is the value that is the tension limits, that is T1 by T2. So T1 by T2 is equal to small e into e power mu into theta. Then the expression can be expressed in terms of corresponding logarithm, that is 2.3 log T1 by T2 is equal to mu into theta. So that is 2.3 log T1 by T2 is equal to mu into theta. So that is the final value for the power transmission in the belts. Next, while determining the angle of contact, it must be remembered that the angle of contact at the smaller pulley, if both the pulleys are of the same material. So we have to take the same material in both the pulleys. And we know that sin alpha is equal to R1 minus R2 for the open belt drive. And the symbol has been changed to the positive sign for the cross belt drive. Then after the angle of contact or lap, it is taken as theta is equal to 180 minus 2 alpha into pi by 80, 180 radians for the open belt drive, but it is has a positive sign for the negative belt drive. So it has a negative sign for the negative belt drive, that is cross belt drive. Then when the pulleys are made of different material, so when they are manufactured of different material, the coefficient of friction of the pulleys or the angle of contact are different. Then the design will refer to the pulley for which mu theta is very small. So the mu theta is very small for that reference. Next one is the centrifugal tension. So our next topic is centrifugal tension. So the centrifugal tension is the tension which is caused by the centrifugal force of the belt. So then for the lower speed belts, that is less than 10 meters per second, the centrifugal tension is very small. So it is very small for the lower speed belts, and but at higher speed belts, that is more than 100 meters per second, its effect is considerable and that should be taken into account. So that should be taken into account. And here consider a small portion PQ. So this is the small portion in the pulley we have to consider for an angle d theta. So this is the angle d theta at the center of the pulley. So here we have to take the notations as small m is equal to so small m is the mass of the belt per unit length, and small v is the linear velocity of the belt, and small r is the radius of the pulley over which the belt run in meters. So this is run in the meters. And Tc is the centrifugal tension which is acting tangentially at P and Q in newtons. So this is the notations. Then we have to know the length of the belt, that is PQ. So PQ is equal to R into d theta, and mass of the belt PQ is equal to M into R into d theta. So it is taken as M into R into d theta. Then the centrifugal force acting on the belt PQ. So PQ is the portion of the pulley, somewhat portion of the pulley with an angle d theta. So there we are considering the centrifugal force. So centrifugal force Fc is equal to m into r into d theta into v square by r. So we are generally considering mv square by r and considering the angle here, that is m into v into the, in final we got m into d theta into v square. Then the centrifugal tension acting tangentially at P and Q points keep the belt in the equilibrium position. And now we are going to resolve the forces here. So the angular tension, the centrifugal tension at the horizontal force. So we have Tc into sine d theta by 2 plus Tc into sine d theta by 2. So we are going to resolve the forces. In total, we got Fc is equal to m into d theta v square. So this is the value of got for the two resolved forces. So these two resolved forces have been racing equally. Then since the angle d theta is very small, therefore we are putting sine d theta by 2 is equal to d theta by 2. So we are eliminating the sine angle there. Then we have the angle as 2 into Tc into d theta by 2 is equal to m into d theta into v square. So here we are going to cancel those equations. So d theta have been cancelled, and 2 and 2 have been cancelled. So we have to obtain only TC here. TC is equal to mv square. So finally, we have got the equation as TC is equal to mv square. So that is the centrifugal tension. Then when centrifugal tension is taken into account, the total tension in the tight side, that is the tight side, is the taken as 1. So that has to be considered as TT1 is equal to T1 plus TC. So this is the value. So TT1 is equal to T1 plus TC. And total tension in the slack side is taken as, so the other part of the belt is slack side. So that is taken as T2 is equal to T2 plus TC. So these are the two sections for the tight side and the slack side portions. So then we have to take the other categories, that is the power transmission. So power transmission has been taken as, so P is equal to T into T1, that is the right side and the slack side of portions. So T1 minus T2 into velocity, that is taken as watts. Thus we have the centrifugal tension has no effect on the power transmitted. So it has no effect on the power transmission. Then you have to take the ratio of the driving tensions also. The ratio of the driving tensions may also be written as, that is, we have already taken the point 2.3 into, that is 2.3 log tension on the right side minus centrifugal tension by tension on the slack side minus TC is equal to mu into theta. So that is taken as the given equation there. So here we have to take the TT1 as the maximum or total tension in the belt. So TT1 is taken as the maximum tension or the total tension in the belt. So thereby we have completed these two topics. So that is the power transmitted in the belts by belt and centrifugal action in the belts. So these are the two topics which they have asked in the regularly the problems also. So thereby I am going to end this session of the class. Thank you.